All right. Welcome to the Skeptical Scotsman. I am the Skeptical Scotsman. And you want to introduce yourself because your title keeps on changing every time.
Oh, I just
What is your
yeah,
title?
I went through and revamped my True Crime Unleashed.
There we go. I just wanted your name.
I'm on my True Crime channel right now.
Oh, I'm sure you are. But yeah, you can't have too many boxes open. Uh, if
Yeah.
you have too many boxes open, it'll slow down your computer, and you have a dinosaur computer compared to the one I'm on. Now, we're going to cover this week's political news or politalking points, if you want to call it that. That's why this video is named More Political Cosplay, because Congress seems like less of Congress and more just a bunch of people cosplaying as congressmen because they lack spine. Now, what's the first question you want to ask?
Uh, um, have you had a chance to go down Kellogg in the last couple of days?
No, I haven't. I spent all day running around because it was my 11th year anniversary. Yay me.
Um, I was doing an Uber Eats run earlier this evening. I was
Yeah.
going down Kellogg, and that walkway that goes over Kellogg, right there before you hit Oliver. There was a bunch of people standing in that walkway, and there was signs on each side of the walkway that says "MAGA Medicaid kills, honk to impeach." No,
Yeah.
MAGA Medicaid cuts kills, honk to impeach.
Dude, this goes on every weekend. Stuff like this goes on every weekend somewhere in town. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's such a
No,
short.
uh, I wanted to get your thoughts on those 128 Democrats siding with the Republicans to kill Alger's impeachment push.
We can't. If you're garbled, we can't hear what you're saying, dude.
I want your thoughts on the 128 Democrats that sided with the Republicans to kill that impeachment push.
You still sound broken. Is this what we talked about earlier this week?
Yes.
Okay. What he's asking is 130 Democrats were looking to push articles of impeachment through, and there was a list of all of them. And at the last moment, they decided not to back it or not to push it through. Now, you're asking what I think about that?
Yes.
I'm thinking it was stupid to push it through in the first place because unless they have 1/5 of both houses, of both the House and the Senate, Republican votes only, they can't pass that through. They need to have that much of a majority.
Mm-hmm.
And if they
Yeah.
could get half of them, oh my God, landslide victory. But you're not going to get that because of MAGA conservative Republicans. They won't impeach him
Yeah.
because we need Trump to be in the White House, and rich people are paying a shitload of money to keep him in the White House and in power because he is one of them, or wants to believe he is anyway.
Yeah. Now, I was reading an article earlier. There's a bill that's sitting in the Congress right now. Is going through committee, and the bill is to withdraw U.S. from NATO.
We're one of the founding members of NATO, if not the inventors of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a MAGA Republican.
Doesn't know how to be
His
quiet, does she?
honey, close the door, please.
I was like going to say, I can hear her from across the house.
Yeah, yeah. His name is Ogles, and he drafted this bill and the bill was to withdraw the U.S. from NATO. And mind you, this was before Trump went to the NATO summit and uh, got the other NATO leaders to uh, start spending 5% more on defense.
Just like we supposedly destroyed a nuclear enrichment site or uranium enrichment site in Purdue. And according to the administration, it's bombed and highlighted no more. It can't be used again, even though independent news sources other than the White House and its administration have noted that it actually may have survived.
Yes, and Trump is calling that fake news. Yeah, like he
Because
always does.
it glorify him as being the victor of anything.
And now the Trump administration has decided to limit who they let in on their military briefings.
Again, it's
because they feel
they want
that
everything glorified.
yes, and they feel that there's a leak because they want to know who leaked it to the press that this that it didn't get completely destroyed. So now he's bringing the hammer down, and only a select members of Congress.
He's bringing. He's trying to glorify himself by cutting out anybody who rains on his parade. He wants to say those are obliterated, they're destroyed. Purdue may be the only one not destroyed.
Yeah, Purdue, and then the other two.
The other two were pretty much obliterated, as far as I can tell. It's the Purdue one that is so deep underground, it may not be destroyed. It may be only partially impacted.
Yeah, because it was inside a mountain. It was inside of a mountain. That's where Purdue was. It was inside of a mountain.
And hence I'm saying it may be. Just like how President Trump says he wants to ban all YouTubers that are podcasts that don't glorify his administration. I could be on the chopping block for that, but I'm so small, who would give a shit?
Yeah, he's going after Media Matters.
He's going after anything that doesn't glorify him or paint him in the brightest possible colors. He is a troll. We all know this.
Yes. Now, did you hear the investigation going on right now into Act Blue?
Going into what?
The DOJ is investigating Act Blue.
Did you know that apparently I got a news story today about the Supreme Court ruling that they cannot have oh yeah, you're the one who sent me it, about them trying to negate LGBT books in the classroom in all schools.
Yes. Yep.
And they've only done that in one state so far.
Yeah, Maryland. But Pam Bondi, her little shrill ass voice up there behind the podium said that one state down, the entire union to go, is the way she put it.
Yeah, well, we get 4 whole years of this unless somebody grows some people grow some spines and impeach him. I mean, what rule hasn't he broken other than murdering somebody?
Yeah. Now
he was literally weaponized. He signed a presidential directive or an executive order stating that the Department of Defense shall not be weaponized. And what is he doing?
He wants to change the name of the department. He wants to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War.
That's because he needs war to help him keep going. Just like he bombed and tried to declare war on Iran, and you can't do that without congressional approval.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, you cannot do that without an act of Congress.
And according to the person that you hate the most, MAGA Mike Johnson, the War Powers Act is unconstitutional. The last time we used the War Powers Act was in 1945. He's the president. He can do what he wants.
No, he can't. He's not a king. He's not an oligarch. There are rules he has to follow. The conservatives just want to back everything he says because he thinks he's a goddamn genius, and he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And there are there's a deal saying that I read it yesterday in the Independent. It's that newspaper that was published where they did a raid on the house and the mother of the owner died.
Yeah.
It wasn't that guy. It wasn't the son who wrote the article. It was one of his other people who said that that not Roger Marshall, but what's his name?
Moran.
I think it's Moran. Moran needs to stand up for Kansas now more than later. And that's a problem with a lot of Republicans because a lot of Republican conservatives, like our representatives, are too spineless to go up like the recampaigning of George Estes.
Yeah, Roger Estes. No, it's Roger Marshall, Jerry Moran, and Ron Estes.
Yeah, Ron Estes. Ron Estes is saying that, oh, this act means we can get better jobs. No, that's not what that means at all. But most of the political ads you're going to see on TV here, locally in Kansas, are going to center on, well, this act is going to bring it in. But you're against that act to begin with. Ron Estes actually went with Trump and voted against programs that would help farmers and everybody else. He actually voted against it. But now he's running on that. It's like, dude, you cannot be you can't vote it down and then say, well, I stand for this. It's going to help Kansans. No, you didn't back it at all. In fact, he's one of the main voices that were rejecting it because we need to get rid of waste. Dude, the only waste we got is having so many fucking Republicans in power who don't have the spine to stand up against Trump and his agenda.
Now you got that RSVP flyer I sent you, right, for Chris Murphy. Mind you, Chris Murphy and Maxwell Frost, they are not our congressman. Maxwell Frost is out of Florida, and I can't remember where Chris Murphy's out of. But they are holding a town hall this Sunday here in Wichita.
And the problem with that town hall meeting is what again?
You're gonna have a bunch of MAGA that show up.
No, it's simpler than that.
Okay.
And you just said it a moment ago.
They are not our congressmen.
They're not our representatives. They're representatives of their respective constituencies, which are in other states. That does not represent us. The problem with our elected officials at the moment, for the most part, I think there's like one Democrat who stands for us.
No, we don't have no Democrats here, I don't think. We got Ron Estes, Roger Marshall, and Jerry Moran.
No, we have a Democrat who's either in the House or the Senate. She represents a certain district. It's either a Latino or a black lady. I don't know which one it is. But she's an elected official, and she's being ignored because conservative Christian Republicans want to do things their way, just like how almost every town hall since Trump has been elected, now they have to extremely vet and pre-approve any questions given at any town hall. It's not, well, here's our concern. It's none of that. It's they read a prearranged question that are softball questions. That way our representatives aren't being faced with hard truths about their own representation of their own people.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why Chris Murphy and Maxwell Frost is coming to Wichita, because our representatives, Roger Marshall, Jerry Moran, and Ron Estes, is refusing to throw a town hall.
Because they're spineless. They don't want dissent. They want to be able to say what they need to say, glorify the administration, glorify conservatism. But like, look, this is the way we are. This is the way we're going to do it. It's like, dude, you're a representative. You answer to us. They don't care. Now, you were bringing up that guy who got elected in New York, I believe it is.
Yes, Mondami.
Yeah. And Trump has slandered him. Trump has openly slandered him as an existential threat because he is a democratic socialist like Bernie Sanders.
Called him a communist.
And he is running against he's going to be running against that black guy,
Eric Adams.
Come November.
Yes, Eric Adams, the one that did the quid pro quo with Trump and Tom Homan.
And he was given an acquittal?
Yep.
He was given an acquittal, and now he's apparently considering running independent. The problem is he still has a tainted record.
Yes.
So his chances of getting the majority of the vote are probably zip to nil. Like the guy who won the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
He was going against Cuomo.
Yeah.
The politician Cuomo, not the News Nation host. The problem is Cuomo has a record. He has a history, and not a very good, and not an overwhelmingly positive one either.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, when I heard this, it's like, dude, when I heard he was running against Cuomo, it's like, Cuomo won't win. Cuomo isn't going to win because almost anybody else who's not doing the same shit is more palatable than he is.
Yes, Mondami, his campaign was a grassroots campaign.
He also did something which I've already. He's also doing something that I pointed out a few years ago, which is he used social media. He made videos about what his stances and his ideology, his political stances.
Yes, and
he peppered social media with them, and it won.
Yes,
and I've already said that the politicians should start doing that. But what are most politicians in Congress now?
The swamp.
What is the swamp? Let's define this shit.
Millionaires and billionaires, and people who are corrupt.
Old, like retirement age, old conservative Christians.
Yep.
Who don't want to use social media because they think it's evil and there's too much fake news. If there's so much fake news, why aren't you stepping up to annihilate it? Because we don't want to get involved in that fight. No, you don't have the balls to tell people that you're actively lying to them just to get voted in. Every fucking president who's ever been elected to office, including Obama, and Obama is one of my favorites, has lied a little bit to get voted.
Now,
I'm not saying that Obama lied to the scale of most of these foppish old white people.
Yeah.
But most of them are retirement age. You have so many people who are like when they show the Kansas Congress, when they do a wide pan shot, what do you see when you look at the backs of them?
Old white Christian conservative males.
A bunch of people with gray fucking hair, straight white hair who now have grandkids or great grandkids. Well, it's best for you. People are paying you, and you're letting your religion dictate what we should do, when in fact religion shouldn't have any place in government, as the Constitution states. Just like people have been talking to me about, well, abortion, we settled abortion here in Kansas. Yes, we did. The problem is conservative Christians can't deal with that. They want their way. If their pastor says that this is an evil that needs to be eradicated, they're going to reword and obfuscate, do whatever they can, to work on getting abortion banned in the Kansas Constitution, which we, the voters, overwhelmingly voted against. We wanted to keep abortion in the Kansas Constitution. We wanted to keep it there, but the right wingers, the Christian conservatives, well, we got to have it our way. We need to abolish this. It's cruelty to children. It's not children who are suffering. These are fetuses. Until a fetus is born, it's not actually a accountable baby. It's not a child yet.
Yes, and while I was texting you earlier, the Supreme Court also ruled that they sided with South Carolina when it comes to defunding Planned Parenthood, and the Supreme Court also ruled that if you're on Medicaid, you cannot go to Planned Parenthood while you're on Medicaid. And
well, the Supreme Court also, what is it they try to do this? What is it they try to do this last week? They apparently today or yesterday they made it a huge deal that they will start. That they agreed with Trump that they should that there are certain processes where citizenship can now, in certain circumstances, be revoked. That's not what the Constitution says, and that's why when I see them playing videos that are not edited in any way, they're playing the full clip, and Trump's saying, no, just because they're born here doesn't mean they deserve to stay here. No, the Constitution says if you are born on American soil, you are an American. It's birthright citizenship.
yes, and Trump speech today about how
You're
birthright
bleeping out really
citizenship was only Trump did this big speech today after the Supreme Court ruled, and he said the birthright citizenship only counted for children of slaves.
Do what? It only counted for who? Your audio go out? Did your audio go out? Remove this, add this. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Trump did this big. Okay, Trump did this big speech today. How birthright citizenship only was supposed to count for the children of slaves, and
that's bullshit.
Yes, and then Pam Bondi got up there and says, if you come here illegally over the past 2 to 3 decades and you had a child and you were hoping that since you had a child here, that child would be an American citizen, she said you've got another thing coming. She said the Supreme Court is teeing up the birthright citizenship argument, and we should know something by October. And she says if you've been living here for the last 20 to 30 years, she says be prepared for a knock on your door.
And the very first door they should be knocking on is Melania Trump's.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time when she had Barron, she was not a citizen.
No.
So Barron would be considered an anchor baby.
Yep.
Ergo, if you do away with birthright citizenship, Barron is not an American citizen, and his wife and his son should be deported. We're going by the legal definition of this shit.
Yes.
We're not going with pie in the sky ideals. We're going with fact, right?
Yep. And the way I see it, um, they're not wanting anybody with brown skin in the United States. That's why they're going after birthright citizenship.
Now, would you like to hear? Would you like to hear a rather funny conversation I had today?
Yes.
You're going to hear about it on Skylight if you're on that, and on YouTube later on tonight or tomorrow. But this lady in this group that I belong to posted a picture about, I can't remember if it was Mozart or Beethoven,
Mm-hmm.
being black. All because one description from back in the day described him as having a slightly broader nose and a darker complexion than normal. The problem is what were most black people in that time?
Slaves.
Slaves or apprentice servants, right?
Yes.
They weren't masters of anything unless you count Dumas,
Yep.
because Alexander Dumas was black. We'll give him all the credit in the world because he fucking deserves it. The author of the Three Musketeers, brilliant writer,
Mm-hmm.
and understandably, probably one of the greatest authors we've ever noted of being of actual black heritage or descent. Not going to argue that he was brilliant. I mean, shit, everybody knows who the Three Musketeers are.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady is telling me, she comes up with this post, and I tell her it's amusing, it's funny, it's entertaining, but it ain't true. She goes on a diatribe about history as being whitewashed and about how Jesus did not have a white complexion and all this other crap that exceptional black people are overlooked all the time. So I proceeded to tell her that most of the people I grew up with could not name more than Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. They don't know any of them. I pointed out, I singled out 5 of them and ended it with etc., meaning there's more of them. And that her claim of whitewashing history and my not acknowledging that makes it so that I'm racist. I responded that I'm Jewish by descent because my last name is Jewish, and that I wasn't whitewashing history. And a lot of people, a lot of black people that get on YouTube and are sensationalist historians tend to point out that blacks invented the cell phone, the traffic light, blah blah. Thousands of inventions where they only had a minute contribution. Like the black guy who helped advance the common signal light in America, he contributed a switch to the whole thing.
Oh,
but now
wow.
all of a sudden, a lot of black people are like, no, he invented the street light or the light signals. No, he didn't. He invented a switch to go with it, which improved it. That doesn't mean he invented the damn thing.
Mm-mm.
And with the cell phones, the cell phone was not invented by a black man. I don't remember who it was invented by, but I know it wasn't black. Then there's, blacks invented the internet. No, a white British guy invented the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know. Well, they're just whitewashing history. She comes back with Jews are the most racist people on the planet, and you refuse to accept anything but your own racial group, and that you are part of the problem and you are not the final solution. Referencing, Nazism.
Yeah.
To which I responded back that I'm not a Jewish Nazi. I'm not even a Nazi Jew. I'm not even religious. I'm spiritualist more than anything else. I mean, when you boil it down, I'm a spiritualistic atheist. But I commented that she has a highly racist slant,
Mm-hmm.
and that she is getting her teachings when she says that Jews are the most racist people on the planet, especially white Jews. Is like, wow, you either are listening to Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam or the Moorish Nation, or um, you're listening to Project 1619. Those are extremely slanted and racist ideologies
Yeah.
because they're meant to only uplift black people. And when I responded with that, she responded, "Free Palestine." It's like, you realize Palestine isn't a people.
Yeah.
I told her
It's
to
a,
have a nice,
it's a
I told her to have
hodgepodge.
a nice day, but apparently she thinks because she's a black woman and that she knows the truth and that she is more educated than I am. Is like, wow. I was just flabbergasted by the stupidity and the racist slant. I didn't say anything remotely racist in any of my comments, and she posted in this group a lot, and now she has made her racist slant very evident. Which I
Yeah.
don't care for the group. Who gives a shit? But I
Speaking
was
about speaking
what?
about racism. Speaking about racism. Medgar Evers, who was one of the gentlemen on Omaha Beach during D-Day. Pete
Okay.
Hegseth. Pete Hegseth wants to remove Medgar Evers' name off of a ship because it's quote unquote DEI. And Pete Hegseth used the backdrop of Normandy on D-Day, when he visited on D-Day as a photo op.
Who used it as a photo op?
Pete Hegseth.
Well, Pete Hegseth is a glory hound.
Yeah, him and Trump wants to go back and rename a bunch of ships. Like they want to take the name of the USS Ruth Bader Ginsburg and give it to somebody else.
Because she's a woman who doesn't stand with them. Now, let me ask you a small question just to test your knowledge because I know the people I grew up with couldn't name five. Can you name five extraordinary uber intelligent black people who changed history? Just five. And yes, you can use Martin Luther King Jr. as one of them.
well, well, um, what about Malcolm Farrakhan? Malcolm X.
You really want Louis Farrakhan, who's a racist Semite, to be on that list?
No. Malcolm X. Mal- uh,
You said Louis
uh,
Farrakhan.
I meant to say Malcolm X.
I wouldn't consider him to be exceptional in that regard because Martin Luther King Jr. was better. I'm talking truly
What about
exceptional.
Coretta
Like,
Scott King? Martin
I'll
Luther
give you
King
that one.
Jr.'s wife, Coretta Scott King, his son, the
No,
one that recently passed away.
anything that surrounds Martin Luther King should be deposited right on Martin Luther King Jr. Not his family, not his wife. He set the tone.
Rosa Parks.
I would have included that, but she's still part of the same. She's still part of the same movement, and all she did was sit in the back of a bus. That's it. Or she refused to move from to the back of the bus. That's literally all she did. So she was a brave woman, but not exceptional. Martin Luther King gave speeches in public despite the threats on his life, and he was assassinated for his beliefs.
What about Thurgood Marshall?
Okay, there's another one.
So
We got who?
Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall.
Two.
I'm trying to think of the John. Uh, uh, The one that named John Lewis.
I gotta throw him in the same boat with everybody who's associated with Martin Luther King. And yes, he might not have been the first guy to do it, but he was the best. Do you see people quoting John Lewis almost every day?
No, they quote Martin Luther King Jr. more.
Exactly. He, like everything Malcolm X said was okay, but it didn't rise to the level. I mean, everybody likes to idolize Malcolm X. I'm not saying he's not exceptional, but Martin Luther King Jr. started something that's still going.
Yeah.
This is where the others, we read their books and all this other crap, but did they fundamentally change the culture of America?
Well, see, now with John Lewis, we have the John Lewis Voting Rights Act,
Which got passed after he died.
Yes. It may have got passed after he died.
And who was still a contemporary of?
Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr.
Exactly. That's why I can't include Joe Lewis. Or
John Lewis.
Come on, keep thinking. We're thinking exceptional black people. Like extraordinary. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. So a lot of the civil rights people I'm tossing out, it's not because they're black, it's because they don't get quoted in every fucking speech dealing with racism and segregation. Martin Luther King Jr. does. So all those people are good, but they're not at that level. You know what I'm saying? Come on, you got 3 names left.
What about Barack Obama?
I'll give you that one. I have to give you that one. Come on, 2 more.
Jackie Robinson.
I'll give you that one. A sports figure who actually changed the American culture.
Let's see who else.
One more. This should be easy, dude. I named these off, and I named these off to my wife earlier today in like 5 seconds.
I'm trying to think of the gentleman that did What a Wonderful World. Louis Armstrong.
I want to give you that one, but I don't feel that I don't feel the impact of Louis Armstrong enough to throw him in that category. Yes, do I admire him? Yes, I watch all the interviews and tapes that there are out about him.
Arthur Ashe.
Huh?
Arthur Ashe.
Who the hell's Arthur Ashe again?
He was the tennis player that contracted AIDS.
He was a what?
He was a tennis player. He contracted AIDS, and he spent his life trying to educate people on the transmission of AIDS.
No, I'm going to disclude that one.
Of it.
AIDS wasn't just a one-person thing. So
Magic Johnson.
No, there were others who came before him on that one.
Yeah.
Damn, you do not know Black history very well, do you? Your daughter used to go to a school named after a great black. He has
last name is Park.
Huh?
Yes, I know. Yes, I'm not trying to think of the name. Horace Park or something like that.
Gordon Parks.
I'm trying to think here. Gordon Park.
Gordon Parks.
Gordon Parks.
And I had to give you that one. And might I just throw in, just because you're being slow as shit, Harriet Tubman and George Washington Carver.
That's a good one, Harriet Tubman.
George Washington
I
Carver
actually
was.
saw his statue there in. I saw his statue there in Missouri. They have a memorial park for him.
Yeah, he was an exceptional person. He was one of the he was one of the first Harlem Globetrotters before they were even called Harlem Globetrotters.
Cool.
You haven't read his biography, have you?
No, not yet. But I wanted to get your thoughts on something real quick. Um, Gavin Newsom is suing Fox News for $787 million. Where he got that figure from was from the Dominion lawsuit. You know, when Dominion sued Fox News for $787 million, Gavin
Yeah.
Newsom is suing Fox News for the same amount. Uh, because the way he put it, we need to teach this propaganda machine a lesson.
What you need to do is replace the management and stop going for shock and gotcha news and all these supposed news reporters are like, oh, well, the Democrats are doing this. Give me a break. It'll never work. Why the fuck are you people stuck in the 1950s? Like, if we're going to be stuck back there, why not make the women fucking strip on air and sit there with their tits out while the guys are sitting there fucking jacking off? Because that's basically what they're going to be
Yeah,
doing.
and this all stems over the president taking control of the National Guard away from the governor. And he had, I guess he had talked to Gavin Newsom like 4 days prior to him doing what he did, and he went to social, said that he had spoke to the governor like the day before, which wasn't the case.
Yeah, I
And then
know.
you had Jesse Waters on prime time calling Gavin Newsom a liar, showing the post from True Social, and so that's why
Trump
Gavin
and
Newsom
his
is.
minions can post whatever the fuck they want, whatever mistruth they want, labeled as truth because it's on there.
Yeah,
That
so
doesn't
Gavin
make it
Newsom.
true.
Yeah, so Gavin Newsom is suing Fox News for the same amount of money Dominion did, and he was asked by Brian Tyler Cohen earlier today, why did you settle on that amount of money? And he told Brian Tyler Cohen, he said I want to give them the same lesson that Dominion did for the same exact amount of money.
They don't care because the president who's in power is the one who is spreading misinformation. I mean, look at we're talking about the 2020 election where Dominion was in charge of the voting machines. Now, during this last election, it was Starlink, owned by the guy who was backing Trump.
Yep.
So, if we're going to start looking into voting systems being corrupt, Dominion shouldn't be the one we're looking into. It's Starlink, and Starlink is being propped up by the U.S. government because we have all this technology. No, they don't. And yeah, now that Elon Musk and Trump are on speaking terms again because their bromance ended. Because they're both like, oh, we were having heated words. Well, no shit. You were calling each other retards. And you both amount to a 5 and a 12-year-old arguing with each other. Trump being the 5-year-old.
Yes, I was reading a news story earlier today, and the gist of the news story was Elon Musk has exited Tesla, not
I
on
don't
his
know
own.
about that one. I haven't read that yet, but yeah, what I'm seeing is a shocking disregard for the voting populace, and like I've said on my other podcasts, if you want to get something passed in Kansas, you can sign a petition all you want. But if you're a registered voter and you sign a petition, what happens?
Uh, Shit gets done.
It counts.
Yes.
If you're not a registered voter, you're just some dude. You're just some person signing a thing to legalize pot. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
Our laws our legislation is derived from surveys and petitions passed around to people who are legal voters. If you're not a legal voter, you don't count.
Nope.
And I think a lot of people are like, well, my vote doesn't count. If you'd fucking pay attention and be a registered voter, that way when somebody passes a petition saying, would you like to legalize pot, you write your name down, it counts. That's how the fucking system works. You can't go in like I don't understand this thing of where they people came in the last time I went to vote,
Mm-hmm.
and two people who could barely speak English. I would like to register to vote. It's like, you don't speak English. How long have you been in the country? Oh, 2 years. I was told that was long enough. It was like, no. You have to be a citizen, first of all. Then you have to be registered. They want to register. Problem is, they're not American citizens yet. They haven't attained citizenship, so they cannot legally vote.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on one of the rulings from the Supreme Court today,
Well, you better hurry up and get it over with.
basically kneecapping the lower courts from applying any type of injunction against the Trump administration or against his executive orders. The Supreme Court basically it limited the lower court's power to file injunctions.
That's the Republicans' way of trying to shut everybody up.
So
Republicans right now don't want any kickback from anybody.
Yeah. So the injunctions and the executive orders that have been filed within the last 4 months have now apparently, according to Pam Bondi and the Orange Benito, can now be successfully implemented across the United States.
Again, they don't want any pushback. Trump gets pissed off when people don't consider him a fucking genius that he believes he is. And Pam Bondi is no better than Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fucking spin doctor. She's just like, what's her name?
Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren
No,
Boebert,
the other press secretary.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Yeah. Their job is to spin it so that it sounds good. But we all know it's a piece of shit. And that's why when I hear people talk about, well, the president said this on Truth Social and the media isn't covering this appropriately, they're only pointing out the bad parts. It's because there is no good parts. There's a reason no good parts are there. None exist. But on that note, it's going on 10. Well, it's actually 10:40 now. I've got a kid to put to bed, and I've got several other marital duties to attend to. So you have fun. I'm going to have a nice anniversary. So say good night.
Good night, guys, and make sure you let Jen know I said happy anniversary.
Yep. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Okay. This has been the Skeptical Scotsman. Stay thirsty, my friends. And you guys have a great night. All right? Peace out and enjoy the night.